What is going on, guys? Quality XA here today, and today I'm bringing you guys a brand new video on Destiny 2. Now today we're going to be talking about the Destiny 2 patch notes, specifically all of the new stuff which has come out yesterday. There is some very interesting stuff on this list that you may not have known about, as well as some stuff that you may. But if you guys would like to follow along, then please do, but there will be a link in the description below if you guys would like to check it out yourself. So, Armor Masterworks. Legendary armor now has a chance to drop as a Masterwork. Any non-Masterwork armor may be upgraded to Masterwork for 5 Masterwork cores and 20 legendary shards. By upgrading to Masterwork, it may rework the stat of the armor. Masterwork armor grants 3% damage resistance while players are in super state for each Masterwork armor piece equipped. Masterwork armor can have a different stat package, heavy, light or restorative, from the base armor piece. Players may rework Masterwork armor to randomly assign one of its 3 base packages to the armor, allowing players to re-roll the stat packages on their armor piece by piece. Reworking Masterwork armor requires 1 Masterwork core and 10 legendary shards. Like weapons, Armor Masterworks have a higher drop rate from Trials of the Nine and raid activities. Now there is some really cool stuff in here. Personally, I think the biggest impact here is regarding the crafting. It's actually really cheap to craft the Masterwork, in my opinion. Having 5 Masterwork cores and 20 legendary shards is definitely on the cheap end to having the 10 Masterwork cores, so I do actually like this little feature here. As well as that, you can actually have every piece as a Masterwork armor, and obviously you get 3% damage resistance while you're in a super state, which is absolutely excellent. So if you guys imagine you have your legs, your helmet, your chest, all of that, each piece gets 3% damage resistance in super, so that would be very good for PvE and PvP, and definitely some really cool features here which I cannot wait to get a whole set of Masterwork armor for. Really cool indeed. Let me know what your first piece of gear that you're actually going to make Masterwork in that comment section below. Next up, moving on to the raid patch notes. So here we have Benedict now has a rotating stock of armor and weapons available each week. To unlock these items for purchase, players must complete the corresponding activity that week. Raid encounters drop at least 1 armor or weapon item. Note, the Castellum and Reactor escape encounters each drop 1 legendary engram per week. Completing a prestige version of a raid encounter prior to normal difficulty will drop both prestige and normal rewards, while also unlocking the weekly rewards for each activity. The last encounter of raid activities has a chance to drop a new exotic ghost, exclusive to the Leviathan. Raid armor has unique mods that only functions within the Leviathan. Raid mods can be swapped at will for the cost of 1 raid token. Existing raid armor already held in inventory will automatically have the option to equip mods. All raid encounters now have the chance to grant an exotic reward. Now some of these changes are absolutely phenomenal. It definitely looks like the raid changes are going to have the biggest impact on endgame. The ability to actually obtain this exotic ghost is a real big feature. In my eyes, I really cannot wait to grind and try and obtain that. As well as that, having the raid encounters to drop at least 1 piece of armor or weapon item is going to be really cool indeed. Again, it will just give you the opportunity to obtain everything a little bit more quickly than having to play the raids so many times until you get the things that you actually want. Although that is a very rewarding way, having this new exotic ghost as well as these new ways to get it, in my opinion, is definitely better. As well as that, we have Benedict is going to be selling some of the items that you may need, so you will have to complete the raid or prestige raid depending on what the gear is that week to actually have the ability to purchase these, which means that you can't just freeload, go to Benedict and buy all of your raid gear. You do still have to do the raid, which in my opinion is good because the raid gear is very unique and it's not the easiest to obtain for some people. So really good changes in there indeed. And my personal favourite, all raid encounters now have the chance to grant an exotic reward, so really awesome indeed. Next up, we actually have the Sandbox Changes. So first up, we actually have the Prometheus lens. The flame refraction perk now generates ammo instead of pulling from the reserves. It also has an increased base damage, so hopefully this fixes the nerf that did happen to the weapon. but regardless, these ability changes don't seem pretty overpowered. Next up we have the Lucky Pants, which actually got a fixed issue where the illegally modded holster perk could provide infinite ammo. Pretty unbelievable, that glitch, if you haven't seen it already. Next, for the Ophidian's aspects, fixed an issue where the Cobra Totemic perk did not function properly when using weapons with the quick draw perk. And then we have I Am Alive, revised perks on the Eater of Worlds grenade launcher to include a second trait perk, Moving Target. Remove the augmented drum and high velocity rounds perk, and there's also a fixed issue where grenade projectiles could remain indefinitely after being hit by a Telesto in the Crucible. So definitely some good updates and sandbox changes there. I'm pretty happy with most of them, especially the Prometheus lens, a really nice weapon and unique, as well as the Cold Heart in my eyes, so really cool indeed. Next up we actually have the activities. Now I'm not going to read all of these guys for you, purely because there are some changes that just aren't necessary to talk to you about. Some of the big ones, we have the revised the Lost Sector reward throttle from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, so that means that you can go in there and farm every 5 minutes, not 10 minutes for your faction rally tokens. There's also been some issues fixes and all of that good stuff. Trials of the Nine now properly shows the requirements when the featured map requires Curse of Osiris ownership, and there's also just loads of bits and bobs there which you guys may want to look at, but yeah, on screen if you guys would like to check it, just pause the video. Moving on to the UI, there was a fixed issue where Ikora would display a waypoint in error. Players in social spaces receive a notification when their postmaster lost and found is full, which is definitely a feature that's been needed. Chest waypoints now properly appear when using scout reports on Mercury. Colorblind settings now apply to elements of the Gauntlet encounter of the Leviathan raid. Armor offered by Brother Vance now displays mod slots when previewed in the vendor inventory, a really good feature there. There's also been a fixed issue where players would see incorrect level up UI when leveling up alternate characters from levels 21 through to 25. Auto rifles now correctly display perks when players are previewing weapons within the vault. Adjusted the display order of gear sockets, mods, shaders, etc. in the item details screen to be more consistent. There's been increased the dismantle timer for Masterwork cores. Masterwork weapons and armor now display a gold border when being viewed in the Postmaster Lost and Found. Crucible players will be properly notified when power ammo is acquired from the cave area of Radiant Cliffs. So some good changes there for the UI. Specifically, the big one there is the Masterworks armor and weapons will actually be shown when they're in a Postmaster. So if you guys do lose some loot, then when you go to the Postmaster, if you're all filled up, you'll be able to see that they are Masterwork weapons, not just plain old legendaries, which is definitely a good feature and helps not to dismantle them. Moving on to the rewards now, we have reduced the amount of XP required to earn an illuminated engram from 160k to 120k, a really good change there to earn illuminated engrams in my opinion. The Crossroads emblem correctly displays within collections for players who have earned the emblem. Character models no longer flinch when spawning into social spaces with spawn effects equipped. Updated the names of spawn effects to properly reflect their in-game appearance. The gold spotlight effect is now the yellow spotlight effect, and the blue class sigil effect is now the purple class sigil effect. The new Monarchy helmet ornament icon now displays the correct helmet. The new Monarchy cloak now displays the correct imagery for female hunters. There has also been a fixed issue where the future War Cult gauntlets would display floating geometry. The gunsmith engrams correctly grant weapon foundry shaders, once again a really good fix there, so can't wait to get some of the foundry shaders. We've also got a fixed issue where Free of Coins was not increasing chances for exotic rewards when players were completing public events on Mercury. That has obviously been fixed, so a real good increase there. Definitely going to start using Free of Coins again. We've got Heroic Strike completions now have a greater chance of granting exotic rewards. There's been a fixed issue where Curse of Osiris strikes were not properly granting clan engrams when featured as a Nightfall activity. And then we have Archite 99 will now offer gunsmith engrams to players who have reached level 20 but not yet completed the Red War campaign. So again, a load of good changes there, specifically fixing the issue where Curse of Osiris strikes were not actually granting the clan engrams when featured as a nightfall. That does mean some of the nightfalls will be able to be the Curse of Osiris strikes now, so hopefully there's going to be some changes. We've obviously been playing so many repeats of nightfalls now, it will just be good to see some different ones. And then last but not least, we have Miscellaneous. So we have the gleaming booms have actually changed in price. They've actually gone down, which is very good. They were pretty pricey in my opinion. There's also been some fixed issues where challenges were not appearing within quick play, where Masterwork cores and mod components were not being forwarded to the postmaster lost and found. There's also been fixed issues where Destiny 2 could crash when players were changing emotes quickly. As well as that, another fixed issue where players could not interact with vendors after fast travelling to a social space. A fixed issue where the belt on the Lucky Raspberry was not properly attached to the character model. A really weird change there, but definitely needed, I suppose. There's also been a fixed issue where some Sparrow contrails could obstruct player view. As well as that, a fixed issue where the Get Up and Sneaky emotes could not be in the player inventory at the same time. And then on to the last 2 points, we have Cade now properly acknowledges player accomplishments during Mercury Flashpoint weeks when granting the Flashpoint engram rather than asking the player about the weather on Io. Really good change there. And then last but not least, we have fixed an issue where Zavala would display the wrong text when granting players rewards from the Heroic Strike milestone. And yes guys, I know that was pretty long, but there are some decent changes here. Again, if you would like to go over them yourself, please do. There is a link in the description below. But please do smash a like on this video as well as subscribing if you guys are new around here for the latest and greatest content Destiny 2 related. But as always, peace out, and I hope you enjoyed.